do a lot of work in that capacity. My husband and I are founders of HealthyChild.org. I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look at our charity. We are 2.5 decades strong. We're probably the most respected children's charity in America, Peter. We lost our child in 1991 to a very rare form of childhood cancer called Wilms tumor. And in her memory, we created the Colechuta Environmental Fund, which was a research entity looking at toxins in the environment and how they interface with the human health of, in particular, pregnant women. And here we are 2.5 decades later with one of the strongest educational preventive platforms in the world to educate young mothers, in particular, about how to prevent exposures. And because of my background, I'm not a scientist, but I've served on many ad hoc committees for NIHS and NIH, and I've been very actively involved in new research. So, looking at lifespan, a couple of the scientific questions I'd like to pose to you are the following. The first being that we know that sitting is the new smoking. And we know that sedentary lifestyle is obviously a defect and a default to human health. It is taking life and longevity away from us. But as we know from many scientific studies, it takes years to prove the endpoint and the assays that are used to seriously understand the relationship between body movement, health endpoints. So we know that smoking is the new sitting. We know that sedentary lifestyle is bad for us. But how will we be able to prove years to come that the mechanics of a lifespan in the intelligent workplace will provide us with extra years of life?
Yeah, that's a great point, and it's kind of interesting because I think that you have the higher education kind of research, and then you have the practical research as well. And we just finished some research with in higher education where we sent out surveys to those educators, about 120 of them, and asked them a series of questions. They'd all been purchasers of lifespan treadmill masks, and asked them, what benefits, if any, have you received? And so the interesting thing is on the practical side, there's so many benefits that you can get immediately. Like the number one benefit that they all expressed was that they were no longer feeling that afternoon blues, and they had more energy at work. The number two was reduced joint and back pain, because we use that we just feel better. Just like exercise is the same way, right? For years, there's all this research being done on benefits of exercise.
Yeah, and
yet we all know that when we exercise, gosh, we just feel better.
Yeah, and as you state, healthy people have more fun in life.
Yeah, exactly. And it's some of the longevity studies. I think that's another interesting one. I sat in on a presentation from the International Council on Active Aging about a year ago, and the part that resonated with me was that this particular physician was trying to get people off of the longevity discussion and really more onto a discussion about looking at how you feel up until that point when you get sick and you get hit by a chronic disease. Sooner or later it's going to happen. And they were kind of showing that a more active adult from the research they had done was able to stave off any ill effects of all those diseases, because part of the sedentary lifestyle was also the fact that people are getting diabetes or heart conditions, or they're morbidly obese, and so the quality of life index, according to his study, and if you want, I'll pull that up. I don't remember the exact researchers, but I know the people at the International Council on Active Aging. But really, they were pointing out too that the benefits of exercise was, in their minds, much more about having a high quality of life until that point when a chronic disease did hit you, rather than in the sedentary world now where, in fact, where the quality of life is already starting to
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a really good point. And, you know, again, I look at this as a preventative opportunity. You know, we can't say that it will prevent diabetes, but it's certainly, we know that, you know, 20 minutes 5 times a week can stave off a diagnosis.